G'day legends, it's spring in Australia, time for a spring clean. Let's wash away all the negative emotions from the last couple of months, eh? Or the way I'm going to do it anyway. Big love, mates. Yeehaw! That feels better. Big love, mates. Wishing you well.
I grew weed for Willie Nelson. I grew weed for Snoop Dogg. I grew weed for the love of freedom. I grew weed for God. And I grew weed for New York City. I grew weed for LA. I grew weed for the great state of Texas. I grew weed for the USA. And I grew weed for little Billy Clinton, though he did not inhale. I grew a whole bunch for heaven and a little bit for hell. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed. I grew weed for the FBI. I grew weed for the DEA. I grew weed for the lawyers to make it legal someday. And I grew weed for the prisons who locked me away. I grew weed for the snitches just to give them bitches something to say. And I grew weed for Wiz Khalifa. Well, I was on the inside. Folks say, how could you do that? Well, I did it with my mind. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed. I grew weed for my neighbors. I grew weed for my friends. I grew weed for Martha Stewart, Joe and Seth Rogen. And I grew weed for Beyonce, Rihanna, JC and crew. I grew weed for your mama and your daddy too. I grew weed for the sick, grew it for the poor. I grew a little for my own head, and then I grew some more. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed. I grow a lot on the farm today, but I don't grow weed no more. Now that it's illegal, I just buy it from the store. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed, big old buds from little bitty seeds. I grew weed.
Yeehaw! Peace, mates. 420 mob strong. Big love, legends. Peace.